What's up, everybody? Today we're doing video 14, which is a follow-up to how to shade the sphere. We're going to learn how to shade a cube because it has a bunch of flat edges and flat sides that are called planes, and they're all being hit by the light differently. The one that's aimed over here is one level of darkness, this one's another level of darkness, and this one's another level of darkness. So you're going to learn all those techniques today in order to be able to make things that have flat sides look like they're 3D. Also, again, Mr. D is a boomer. I managed to accidentally not turn my face cam on for this one. But other than the fact that you don't get to see this lovely face, which you're looking at right now, the video is fine and it has all the information that you need. And the drawing is perfecto. So don't worry about the fact that I made another mistake. I think it's my last one, but it might not be. I make mistakes all the time, despite being the world's greatest teacher. Enjoy. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Dees here, coming to you with the next in the long line of these how to draw lessons. What I'm doing is I'm putting together a series of how to draw videos that go all the way from the most basic things that I know, all the way to the greatest tips that I've learned to give people over the course of 15 years of teaching art. And right now, last class we learned about shading the sphere, before that we learned about values, before that we learned about shapes and lines. If you didn't start at the beginning, I suggest that you start at the beginning, or at least find where the beginning is for you if you have some experience, and come back up and meet us at this video from there. Today we're going to be learning how to shade something that has planes, not like airplanes, something that has flat surfaces at different angles. That means it has to be something that's 3D, so it's a form, not a shape, and it's going to be a cube. I'm going to show you real quick an easy way to draw just an approximation of a cube, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to shade it based off of light source. This is a really important thing that you're going to use if you're ever on vacation and you want to draw the buildings across the street or something like that. This is a really easy way to do a little bit of shading and make things look 3D and realistic. Alright, so what I'm going to start with is just a very simple straight up and down line. You'll notice I'm not using a ruler because that's not what today is all about. I'm going to do a little bit of a line going up like this, and the next one is going to be a little flatter, but it's still going to come out to the side. Straighten this. I'm going to do the same thing going the other way. A little flatter on top, but still straight up and down line. Connect. And then these go burp, 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 burp. There we go. So, started off with a straight up and down line, slant, a little bit less slanted, straight up and down. Slant, a little bit less slanted, straight up and down. And then I cross them in the back, and wherever they hit is where my cube is. Now, I'm going to add my horizon line so that we know that there's a wall and a table, or there's the sky and the ground, whatever it is, the cube is sitting on something. And I'm going to pick my light source coming from over here. So now we can see our different planes. We have this plane that faces a little forward. We have this plane that's facing straight up. We have this plane that's way in the back. So if I was looking, I would say the easiest thing to determine is that I'm just going to label them 1, 2, and 3. 3 is the darkest one. I'm going to do this really light though. I'm going to say this one is clearly 3 because it's the opposite of where the sun is. So the sun's going to be hitting all on this side, this back part's going to have almost none. So that means our shadow also is going to be coming out this side. I'm going to say the sun is coming from above and from that way back there. So this one's going to be 2 because it's going to be a little bit less direct. This side that we can't see back there is going to be the number 1 side that's getting hit the hardest. And then the top I think is going to have a little bit more light on it than the others because it is coming from above, so some of that indirect light will be hitting it. And now I can just shade in that order. I'm going to erase my number 1 because 1 being the lightest, I'm just going to leave that at the white. I might put a little bit of shading in it later. And now I'm going to erase my number 2 so that I can start there with my medium shading. And I like to do hatching while I'm doing these because it's a bunch of straight lines. And because cubes are made out of a bunch of straight edges and straight sides, I don't know, it just fits well for me. I like it the way that that feels. So that tends to be what I do. And like I've talked about before in my videos, with the videos on shading and creating value scales, when I'm doing a human face, then I tend to use scumbling, the little loops more. But on this, I like a nice straight line. You see I'm just passing over for a second pass to get it a little extra dark. And then I'm going to do my cross hatching, so I'm going to come up now. Because I want this to be very dark in comparison to the other side. You might notice that even though I go quickly, because I have been doing art for a long time, I still do not draw back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I draw one line, one line, one line, one line. That's how hatching works. Alright, so we can smooth this a little, fill in some of these gaps just a little bit. Bring that finger over here, smooth this out a little. Boom, boom. Maybe fill in some of these gaps towards the bottom a little bit. I don't like the way that looks. This looks a little too empty. I'm going to fill this in some. And then the top edge, we could leave white, or we could just to kind of make it go with everything, we could give it just the lightest little bit of shading. Alright, and which way would our shadow be coming? Our shadow would be coming off the back, something like that. And I'm going to go ahead and get my darker pencil, and that's what I'm going to do my shadow with. Notice how as I get a little further away, I let it fade and get a little lighter. I don't spend so much time making it as dark as I possibly can, because shadows tend to diffuse a little bit as they get away from things, the objects that are causing them. And they kind of fade out into the soft edge, which is the next thing that we're going to create by going a little over the edge and giving it just a little extra here and there. And then we can just take our finger. And remember that your finger is just your next art supply that you're using. Don't think just because it's your finger that somehow miraculously everything's going to work out if you just go randomly pushing and pulling and moving around. That isn't the way that it worked with any other art supply that you've ever used, so I don't know why you would think that would work that way with your finger. I'm going to add a little bit of this dark to our darkest edge just for some unity. Just to kind of keep the fade of my contrast the way that I want it to be. And to fill in some of these annoying white spots, because for some reason I can't get all the white spots filled in. And you might have just noticed that I colored way out of the lines just then, twice. I'll just fix it. The number one mistake my students make about me as an artist is they think, oh, Mr. Dees, you're so good at art, you draw everything perfect every time. It's like, no. I just am willing to take the time I'm willing to admit to myself when I don't draw it perfectly, and I'm willing to take the time to fix it when I don't draw perfectly. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I have created your cube. You got the shadow fading out. You see we're starting to really look 3D because we're following the rules. What would I like you to do? I would like you to practice drawing these things just as many times as you possibly can. You need to do at least 10 of these for practice. You could probably fill 3 pages with them. I mean, I could do 10 of them right in this little section if I wanted to, but it's a little more practice of your shading if you do them a little bit bigger. So do at least 10 of them. I promise that is yet another thing, like those value scales that are going to impress anybody that you ever take this sketchbook to apply with. But also, it's just like hitting the gym for drawing. You need to build these skills so that when we get to the tough stuff later on, you're not just all of a sudden like, whoa, this is way too much for me. If you follow along with the program from the beginning to the end, I promise you, I've done it before. I can take you from a noob to an excellent drawer, to somebody who will impress people with the drawings that you make. That is not a question. That is definitely a thing that I can do. So just stick with us, make sure you like and subscribe, comment anything that you want to see below, and just keep doing the videos and keep doing the practice, and it's going to work out. Thanks for... and I'm sorry if the audio wasn't as good as it normally is on this one. It's because of the fact that I forgot to do my little face cam, but I think that you get the general idea, and I'll maybe like put a stupid looking picture of me in the corner and say that I forgot to do the face cam, and that is what we'll do. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, sorry about my face not being in there. I know that's the most important part to all of you. Just kidding. The drawing was just fine, everything was visible, and you could hear all the instructions, so that's what's really important. And now I want you to go and draw 10 of these, and move the light source around. Have the light over here, the light over here, the light underneath it, whatever you want. Just make them the best that you possibly can. Make sure you're practicing shading planes. Alright, enjoy. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last thing that I wanted to say. This is going to be at the end of every video, I do believe. When you are done with your homework, take it on over to the Discord and turn it into the art submissions. We want to see what you're working on. I will pop in from time to time, usually around 4 o'clock in the morning. Don't get weirded out by that. And I will give you feedback on the work that you have done. So make sure that you check the link below so that you can get to our Discord and you can join these submissions and start putting your art out there for people to see, give you feedback, help you get better at. I got a bunch of artists that have already gone through my class that hang out in there, and if you think you're going to do something funky, you're not, because my mods are going to get you. You understand what I'm saying? I might be a boomer, but my mods are powerful zoomers. I'm not challenging you, though. Please don't mess with please, just be nice. Just do the artwork.